As you were saying, though, they can be kind of determined where you are in some instances, but if you don't want them to know, you need to say, no, don't show your location, and actually set it up so that your location is not shown.
And even then, a lot of times we think we're safe because we've installed certain antivirus or things that we think are keeping us safe. But if the person stalking you or your abuser is just a little more tech savvy, they are motivated. And there's something called geotagging that helps them locate you. And you know, Fred, I am not a computer whiz. I am functional, and but if it came down to it, I would take my computer, and this is what people should do. If they think this is happening, it probably is happening. They should take their computer into the police station and have them sweep it. They should take their vehicle as well. Have it all swept. Worst comes to worst, get rid of the computer and get a different one. You know, we feel very, very tied in to being online, and a lot of us, that's very necessary for our job. But truthfully, a lot of it we could go without if we had to. And if it's your life or your computer, let's make the smart choice.
Right.
Get offline for a while.
And I would say while you're taking your computer in, take your purse and other stuff that you normally carry with you, so that they can do it. They do a sweep. They're able to sweep everything.
Everything. Absolutely.
Jeez. A lot of the stuff, you know, people say that a lot of things on TV are not real, etc., but there's always a kernel of truth in a lot of those programs. And they just expand on what it is that they know, what it is that they know about equipment, etc., that will be coming out. And many times you see a lot of that first on a TV show or whatever else. But it is important for people to understand that somebody many times is watching.
Yes.
If it's not Uncle Sam, then it's somebody else that could be really truly watching you and keeping an eye on you. And it's important, as we were talking about what people put on the Facebook and the like, that you be careful about what you put on there. In fact, I heard this reporter, and then the female reporter kind of disagreed with him, but I agree with him, that whatever you put on anything, if you're not prepared to read it on the front page of a newspaper, don't do it.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. There's no such thing as totally confidential anything anymore, because it's so easy for people to access.
It is, you know, and at the same time, that technology can work for you. Do a little bit of homework. You just make Mr. Perfect. Do a little bit of research. It's on there.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and look up a few things.
And it's so key and important too for, I think, all of us to get back to a point where we value life. You know, where we value relationships, we value each other. And I mentioned to you earlier, and I know with certain relationships and types of abuse, they call it enabling the person, because you keep them, you know, on the, you justify them being on drugs or whatever else. And you were saying that the, I guess the, what is the term for, though, defending and excuse making, when people who know, and you know, there's no abuse that's going on that somebody doesn't know about, either your best friend or your mother, your father, your uncle, your brother, your sister, or whatever else. But people who know that certain things are going on and they don't come forward with it, they don't, or even if they attempt to get the person to, like your agency or whatever, many times, I'm sure there are many times, especially early on, that they don't want to do anything about it. I don't want to shortchange the programs that you're talking about, but can you share with our listening audience, and then we'll go back to the rest of the programs, some of the things that they should be looking for, and we know that this isn't a precise science, but there are some things that, you know, ladies, when you're dating somebody, or men, when you're dating someone, you know, and things are happening where, you know, it should kind of at least get your antenna going, so that you start to wonder, you know, I don't know if this person is right for me or not. I don't know if I should marry this person or not. because there are things that you're so much in love you kind of overlook, you know.
Yes, we do.
Or, you know, you're so much into that person that you kind of excuse this, or you excuse that, or you excuse this and excuse that. And really, once you're married, people stop excusing things. That's one of the changes that happen when you got a little piece of paper. But what are some of the signs that people should look at? And I know the other side of the coin is, for those who are loved ones, what are some of the things that they can or should do?
Okay, well, starting with some of the signs of a potential batter, and again, every situation is different,
Mm-hmm.
and it's possible that none of these signs would be there, or it's possible that a lot of them would be there.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that's a really big indicator is past violence. Now, it's not like you're going out on your first couple of dates and they're going to leave with a comment about how they have a conviction for domestic assault. They're not going to tell you that right up front, which is where a little of that research at home can come in handy. But if they happen to mention an ex and, you know, a bitter dispute that involved the law, or if everything they say about their ex or their exes is negative, that's a big sign. I mean, we all have exes we could talk poorly about. But if all of them you have nothing good to say about, the thing they have in common is you. So if they are pressuring you for involvement very quickly, taking it to the level of intimacy, and I don't just mean physical, it could be emotional, physical, financial. Well, let's run off right away and get married. That works out great in Hollywood. It's very romantic when it's on the big screen. But in real life, that should be a red flag that this person is pushing for something that really isn't giving you time to get to know each other and have a healthy bond or discover things. If the person is particularly jealous, that's another red flag. Jealousy is a sign of lack of trust.
And you know, sometimes people don't understand or know how to even spot jealousy, I find too, because if you go somewhere and they want to know where were you, who was there, you know, and how do you know this person, and you know, those types of things are.
That's controlling and jealous.
Yes, yes.
And that's very hard, especially with younger girls, is they tend to see jealousy as flattering. He must love me.
Yeah.
Or a lack of jealousy as a lack of affection, as opposed to a lack of trust, which was, you know, if you're secure in your relationship and you're secure in your person, you can accept that the woman you are with will want to go out and do things with friends of hers. So that's another thing. If they are trying to isolate you, they don't feel that you should need other people. You should not have to have other friends. You should not have to go out with your family. They should be enough. If they expect you to be their everything and them to be your everything, that's a very bad sign. You know, we all need people and connections in our life, and if they need you to satisfy their every need, that's a giant red flashing sign right there. And at first, again, especially with younger females, that can be very romantic, and oh, it's you and me against the world, and oh, well, nobody approves of him, and my parents don't approve of him. You know, I know it worked out, again, on the big screen really well, but if nobody approves of him, you need to take another look at it, whether you're 14 or 40. If he doesn't have anybody else in his life, you're going to have to be everything in his life, and that isn't healthy. That really isn't healthy.
You know, another thing that occurs to me has to do with the dress, because sometimes, you know, they will start in that controlling fashion, actually telling you what you can wear, what you can't wear.
Absolutely.
We're not talking about somebody who, you know, maybe you dress in the 50s and they're just trying to help you get into the next century. But we're talking about somebody who, you know.
We're not talking about the fashion.
Yeah,
first,
I mean,
right?
it's just.
And it was fine when you first met, and they loved that dress then, and they loved the self-confidence that went along with wearing that dress. But when you suddenly wear it to go out with your friends, why should you need to go out with your friends? Why do you want to wear that dress? Who are you wearing that dress for?
Yeah.
It changes. You know, another red flag is if they blame you for everything that's wrong in their life. They never apologize. Now, that's a red flag for not necessarily just an abuser, but somebody that's probably not a very healthy relationship. So some of these go along with not just an abuser, but people you maybe don't want to be with, regardless. But if they can control you, okay, so you need to watch out for that. If nothing is ever their fault, it's going to be your fault. So that's another red flag. If they're excessively involved with drugs or alcohol. Now, that's not causal. There is a relationship, and it can make things worse. I'm not trying to push it off on substances, but it should be a red flag, again, in any relationship, not just as an abuser, but as a red flag. So those are a few of the things to watch out for. You're not going to be able to change a person, and we all think we can. We can all change a person.
Oh, yeah.
We all are the fixer-upper approach to dating, and that's not just young people, that's all of us. We do that, but if when you meet them and you think you can change all of those things, you are not going to be able to.
And especially if you think that they're going to change as soon as you get married.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
no,
Give it
no,
up.
that is not the way it happens. It gets worse, it doesn't get better, okay, in terms of your really being able to have a relationship with someone. And I share that because there just are people who just believe that, well, if we're going to make it better, then we'll just go ahead and get married and it's just going to get better. Or we'll have kids and it'll make it better.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, that's not going to fix their broken relationship.
Ah.
Yeah. No, so these are some signs, and if you're seeing a few of them and then more and more start coming, whether there's one or none of these, if you start to feel afraid of displeasing that person, and I mean afraid of the consequences, I don't just mean, oh, well, I hope he's not upset with me, but if he's upset with me, the really bad consequences that are going to come of that. But the minute you feel that fear, there you go, it's, they may not have hit you yet, but part of you thinks this is coming, so get out.
Absolutely. And if they want to salvage the relationship and do something to save it, are there things that they can do?
Well, there's one thing I would definitely recommend they don't do, and this is going to offend some people, but couples counseling. If the relationship is abusive. Because in a counseling setting, you need to be able to go in and be honest and reveal your real emotions and what's really happening. And if you go in there and reveal things that later you're going to go back to home with that same person and get beaten for it, it is not safe. We get a lot of calls on our hotline, 255-2102. We get a lot of calls on our hotline for people who want couples counseling because they want to salvage a relationship. And my recommendation would be, the recommendation of anybody answering would be, get individual counseling. There are veterans intervention programs. We don't have one anymore, but there are programs out there, and that individual needs to be willing to seek help as well. If they're being physically violent with you, and you're trying to salvage it, they're the one doing the hitting. They need to be willing to change. You can't fix it. So, are there things you can do? Yes, but do them after you've gotten out of the relationship and let them fix it. Don't wait a week and listen to the promises of it's going to be different and I'm going to change. Watch the change happen from afar and then decide.
Absolutely. And I hate to bring this into the discussion, but it needs to be. And that is, we've seen such an increase in the violence that follows these domestic violent relationships where they actually result in murder, and even the taking court action and the like has not seemed to curtail some of the really cruel end results where and it's mainly women have been killed as a result of that relationship, where the man in the relationship has decided that he's not going to live without her, and so if he's going to end it, he's not going to leave her, so that she can continue to have a great relationship, and blaming her for whatever's happened, as you've said before, and as a result, I'm taking her out and I'm going out as well. And then some of them, of course, they have the gall to, I won't say the balls, I say the gall to take the woman out, but then they don't want to do anything to themselves. It really has become a difficult situation that has been brought home to, I think, a lot of women who may find themselves in a situation where they're afraid to leave and afraid to stay.
Absolutely, when a person is considering leaving a relationship or after they have just left it, it's one of the most lethal times. Abuse is about control and controlling that person, and if that person thinks they are about to or have lost control, the level of lethality goes way up. So yes, that is a very dangerous time.